you got to remember, it's designed by Standard Engineering Design Guide in Missouri. And I for the design guide is 4 times your design, your process. Our permitted design is 300,000 gallons a day. So our actual flow is about 170,000 gallons a day normal. So the design was to beat 1.2 million. That would be the design guide. It would beat that by 400,000 gallons a day. But we're still getting more rain. Well, we've done a little bit of smoke testing, and I got to tell you, I've seen towns spend tons of money trying to manage and control II, and I mean it is very, very, very difficult to manage. So we're going to be looking at that this season, as we always have. That's the way we found all these issues that we've been fixing. And you know, you like to think that you've made some progress, but man, somewhere there's some serious water. And a lot of it is probably residential, and that is some pumps on there,
into the
footing drains, and there's not an easy solution to that. You know, you can send a letter out and you can say what it means and how important it is, but when you tell a homeowner to go spend $3,000 correcting it, you're getting an uphill battle. And so. And some of them can maybe be fixed for $50, but I guarantee you they will argue just as loud over the 50 as they will over the. So it's a difficult challenge. But anyway, I just want you to know that that's out there, and so anything you do in the way of controlling II is a step forward.
Is it easier rather than residential if you make a big enough plant with commercial?
Well,
downtown.
The commercial downtown, and that's why when we find something that's simple to fix, if we can fix it, because it saves us. And that's why when we did that smoke test down there, now there's still stuff down there, but it's much more difficult and much more intrusive on the private property than what we agreed to go ahead and do for these guys at last month's meeting. So when we run onto something like a broken cleanout cap in a ditch, for instance, we don't even talk to the customer or anybody. We just put a cap on it. Nobody knows the difference, you know, because it's a challenge for us too. It's important to all of us that have any skin in this game. So, in working with other utilities, private utilities have a tendency to say, "Let's go do it," because they want the II out. They know the value. They're in the business for profit. They want that rainwater out there, and they will borrow the money to fix it all. And we can't do that. We're a public entity. We don't have that. They can do it at a better rate. They can say, "Tony, go fix it." I fix it and send them a bill, and they're happy. You guys got to go through the administration of all the public funds, the prevailing wage. It costs you double what it does them. It's just a different animal, and so. That's where we're at. So anyway, that's about that.
So the money we approved last month, have we had any?
We haven't done it yet. I've just been too busy with the Saver system.
Okay.
I mean, we
haven't got that stuff.
Yeah, we had a couple water main breaks. Yeah. We've just been busy. It's the holiday season, and a lot of time off and that type of thing. Training, so we were going to training for a couple of days. But anyway, we'll get to it. It's we've got other things we want to do that prioritize, like fixing the street real long because when the weather's right, we're going to do that. It's all depending on the weather this time now, but schedules.
And hopefully the rain will quit. But talking about more.
Yeah, it's supposed to rain.
No.
Anything else about water?
Water?
I was going to ask about we talked about it last week, I think Gold brought it up about that new meter that we got.
The meter's out there, we haven't put it in yet.
Okay.
It involves trenching. We have to trench between the buildings and lay conduit, and we want the conditions right, but we'll have a lot of volley out there all winter long.
Yeah.
Also in water, we had a couple of water main breaks. One of them was right downtown one evening in front of the bank of Holden drive-through.
Oh, yeah.
And Chief, you had an officer come by there and direct traffic for us. He found it. He kept, you know, literally when it's like that particular break was, a car could pull in that water thinking he was going to go somewhere and just sink. And he stayed right there and protected that for us. We appreciate that. Right here. We told him thank you, but I want to give you that message too. He stayed with us and kept the traffic off us the whole time.
Do you know who it was?
So, no, he told me his name, but I'm so horrible with names. He was a young guy, and
Young guy, there you
yeah,
go.
in a uniform. Had a car
Young
with-
guy in a uniform, a car with lights on it.
I typically run when I see those types, but I was like, no.
All right.
But anyway, we got that taken care of, and other than that, everything's doing fine. Water. This is a good time. Yes. I'll let you read that, see what you make of it.
Oh, Lord.
Picking on me.
Subgrant application. 100%.
Can you read out loud?
It's a form.
Well,
It's for
you want
the
me to get to-
chemicals.
Yeah. I'm reading all the details so I can figure it out.
Okay, reasonable short-term additional cost, blah, 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 the applicant documented identification of the specific.
Whatever it
emergency
was,
task,
we completed
increased water testing, laboratory and intermediate aftermath disaster. The latitude and longitude were taken. To the best of my knowledge, everything is true. Basically, they asked us to sign this and get this back to expedite our grant.
Oh,
So it appears that we are receiving reimbursement for the chemicals.
that's great.
Oh.
To the tune of 100% of what we asked for, is that what that means?
6,000, yes.
Yes.
That'd be nice.
Oh, that would be nice.
$6,873 for the documentation that we sent. We sent, remember we sent them 3 years of
Yeah,
Yeah.
comparison?
yeah,
And so it appears, now, I'm not sure about government documents.
right.
So I don't know if I
Sure.
shout there at the bank on it. I wouldn't go out and get a loan against it.
No
But-
parties yet? No.
But it has been signed and sent right back, and so we'll see.
Wow, that is very encouraging.
Worth pursuing.
Yeah, I
We're
saw it
pursuing.
said 100% approved, and I'm thinking, okay, what? Well, that's good. That's good news.
Also in water and sewer, O&M locating is becoming more difficult and more demanding all the time. We've got all kinds of utilities. We're in 40 utilities over 7 counties. And so we bought some new equipment this month, and this equipment is not only does it locate, but it will digitally record the GPS of all the locations. So the guys have already started, since it's been bad weather and they haven't been able to do some of the things that we would like to be doing. They've been out locating Holden's water lines, and we can do the manholes and do everything and create deep digital maps so that we can have a GIS, just an absolute aerial photo from Google Earth type of a photo of the town, and show exactly where our utilities are, where every valve is within a meter. Where every valve is, where every manhole is, and
Do we
so-
get enough waypoints in your,
do what?
we get enough waypoints in your GPS, or just,
I don't even know what a waypoint is. So,
Stop.
but you
when you
can,
go fishing, you can.
so when you get, but we can go down that line and make sure that that line is on target and put points all the way down that line on it. So, it's an expensive item, but it's well worth the money, so that we can update all of Holden's maps. I'd say it'll take us 18 months to 2 years to do that, because we can't just go out and do that. But every time that we do have to go out and locate, we will be GPSing. And then the sewer system, we have a lot of that already, but we don't have it on the streets. But this will allow us to digitally put that manhole on there, from overhead, and of course then we can draw the line between point A and point B, and know exactly where it is. We can go back to your as-built and put the depth in there. And when another company calls and wants locates, not only can we locate, we can hand them the map and say,
Yeah.
is. So we're really proud of that and glad that technology has come down to our affordability.
Are we going to include the city lake in that? Take a, say, a snapshot of the lake so that if we have further erosion, we have some way to show documentation that.
Well, the thing the reason, that's not why we didn't get paid. We
Okay.
had the documentation there was erosion. We weren't eligible because we had done nothing to prevent erosion.
Oh, okay.
Now, on that subject,
Mm-hmm.
these retainer concrete blocks like
Yeah.
you see at the lumber yard
Yeah.
holding the chips,
Yeah,
I understand those things are cost somewhere between $25 to $35.
okay.
I've got several donors who are donating rubble that's iron-free.
Mm-hmm.
And my goal is that when the weather's permitting, we can buy enough of those blocks to build a breaker wall
or, yeah.
around that point,
Yeah,
and then fill it in with that rubble
Yeah.
behind it.
good.
And I did not have time to get an estimate on what that total cost is, but it's not that much.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be a powerful, it would show that if there was damage at that point again, and we can do that on some of those points out there if you like, one every 3 years or something until we get them all covered. That's totally up to you guys. If you want to create that plan, we can. If you want to tell the city to create that plan out of the recreation money, that's probably where it should come from. But for this particular item, it's about to take a road. I have a hunch that we're not going to get it anywhere else but to just do it.
Okay.
So
A joint effort would be nice.
I'll be back to you with the number. I'll be back to you with the
Okay,
number.
all right.
But if you do that, you probably won't even have to worry about FEMA in the future because hopefully it'll stop.
Not on that point, but there's other points that could happen on. Now, this was about to take a road, so that's what made it kind of urgent. There's other points we don't even look at. So whether it's worth it or not at those places, I don't know. You know, that's up to you guys. But we should as a community be sitting down and creating a total long-term plan for that thing. We kind of had one, but it's not in our hands now, so,
Yeah.
or whatever. Anyway, that's about it on water, so, and that is, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was part of the FEMA's concern. So
I'm just delighted we're getting reimbursed for the chemistry. That's
I'm
nice.
too.
That's
I was a little bit surprised, because the gal, you know, when we were talking to the
Yeah.
her, she was a little sketchy about it, you know.
Maybe if we do get the funds for that, maybe we could apply some of that towards
But
the
that's just where I put
sea
that
walls
word
or
of
retaining
charm,
walls,
Yeah.
you know, and we got that money off my charm.
Well, you're stretching it.
It was double that, they'll tell me.
It's getting deep in here. I hope you all got hip waders. Okay, that's all about water and sewer. Okay, we'll move on to letters from citizens.
On the letters to citizens, I kind of went through and picked the biggest complaints and things, which most of them were positive. It's hard to count the exact numbers, but by my count, there was like 22 positive to like 6. There was one that had a bunch of them, and I'm not sure what their source was. So it's, you know, that may not be exact, but there was still more positive than negative by quite a bit.
Yeah.
But of the main complaints, and not you guys, because I've talked to Dennis and talked to you about it a little bit, and you might be able to explain it. One of them particularly talked about Pleasant Hill rates were so much cheaper, and I think one of them mentioned rural water was cheaper. And
I saw a complaint about rural water from
Yeah.
folks that moved in from District 2. And I've been in District 2 myself. Water there for a family of 4, we spent $75 a month, and this is 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's without sewer.
Yeah.
And I replaced the heating elements.
Oh,
Could I throw something in? Has anybody talked to anyone from Pleasant Hill lately about the water rates? I think maybe it might not hurt to do that because they've had a terrific increase
oh
out there.
dear.
Yeah, everybody, we've got on an old rate chart. I left mine upstairs. And I'm gonna go get some, you know, have you got a old one from them?
yeah, that's,
Is that the old one?
well,
Let me go get the colored one.
okay,
Maybe I'll
yeah,
show where
where's
Holden
the
fits.
Got too much papers.
Like one of them in there said, you complain about the electric rates too, but you don't want to tell the electric company. So,
Yeah.
Well,
there was quite a array of comments.
I was really, I was surprised surprised at the level of support.
I really like Francis's letter.
Francis's
It was an
letter,
objective letter, you know, he said, yeah, we butted heads and we didn't always agree, but it was an improvement of.
it was amazing to me.
This is, we do this periodically. We haven't done it in a while, so these are older numbers, except Holden is updated, and a couple of them are updated, but most of them are 2014 or pre-2014. You guys might want to share. You got the same thing, all in black and white.
Yeah.
And I've got, basically, Holden's in the yellow. And on the left column is the basic 1,000 gallons for water. And the next column is 5,000 gallons, or 4,400 gallons. That's what our average user uses in Holden, is 4,400 gallons. So that's the average water bill in Holden. Then the next column is the base price for the first 1,000 gallons of sewer, and the next one is 5,000 gallons of sewer. Now, if you look in each of those columns over on the sewer side, we ask them, have you completed the ammonia, have you achieved ammonia and disinfection? And you see it says yes and no all up and down there. And some of those aren't very accurate, I don't think. I don't think the clerks knew what they were talking about.
Oh.
But I also called another district, and I said that I know keeps up on the stuff. So he gave me some updated 2014 stuff, but he still had Holden's old rate. So Holden's is current. But as you can see, we're in the top half. Not way up there, but we're in the top half, and we're complete.
And we are complete.
Now, I want to say this about rates. It has to do with how aggressive you are in rehabilitation, how aggressively you keep up with the regulations, and you can see Kansas City is up there. They're higher than we are over there on the far right. That wastewater, Peculiar, State Park Village hasn't completed it yet. Peculiar hasn't completed it yet. Hickory Hills is in progress. There's a 67. Odessa is in progress. But you can see also in the water over there, Johnson County number 2 is higher than us on water still. But the thing about Holden, and the reason I say this, many of these small systems were built in the 60s and the 70s. Holden was built in 1885. The sewer was built in the 30s. When I came here in the 70s, there hadn't been any improvements. It's an old system. We started a plan in '78, a rehabilitation plan. And then the politics got so, and I quit. We had money in the bank. I quit. When we came back in '85, as O&M Enterprises, they were broke. And we sat down, and Sam was on the board, and we made a hard plan. The water plant was right here, and there was literally water running through the walls and out on the ground at this plant. We went from broke, and in 5 years, we had enough money to pay $225,000 out of our pocket against that new plant out there. And still have a healthy bank account that we went broke on. I mean, when I say broke, I'm talking literally no money in the bank that we started from.
For the first month I was on the board, I think we had to take in $1,300 before we could pay we could pay the first bill. We were totally broke then.
Right. Now here's the here's where we went. In 5 years, we built that water plant. Our goal then was to build a sewer plant, because sewer plant was overflowing, regulations were getting stricter. In 1997, we had a bond issue to build that Virginia system. And it passed by 85% by the voters. But we had a mayor at that time that was opposed to it. He wanted O&M out of here because when we closed this building, the city was trying to demolish it. O&M bought it and rehabilitated it, and he walked in and he said, if we get rid of O&M, this would all be the city's. That was his mentality. I'm not saying that he's a deep thinker, but that was his words. And I'm not saying, and please, hang me, I don't care. But anyway, he was the mayor for 8 years, and he would not agree to it. And I knew people with the state back then, most of them was retired and moved on now, but they told me, I said, Tony, your mayor is opposed to this, we're not going to agree to anything. The mayor's not on board. And I said, the mayor's not in charge of it. They didn't care. Finally, he got replaced, and in 1987, in 2007, we built that lagoon. If we'd have done it by the board's plan and on their schedule, we'd have saved 10 years of inflation on the cost, and it would be paid for next year. Now, that's a debt service in that bill right there, and that $28 a month for that minimum,
Yeah.
that's a debt service of $8 and change. We just took on another debt service of $8 and change.
Mhm.
But, so that's $16, $17 a month in debt service that's going to come off in 10 years. None of these other guys can say that because they're all into that 20 and 30-year money from
Right.
USDA. We finance this thing on our own and a 10-year payoff. So Holden is ahead.
Mhm.
Holden is in good shape rate-wise. I know we're going to see inflation. I know, and I know in our next budget session we're going to be talking about a power bill because there's going to be a power increase,
Yeah,
usage and price
we still don't know.
that we know is coming. We don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but at the same time we're working on how to improve to save. Now, I saw the rhetoric in the newspapers and about O&M has had a raise of 3.7% over the last 2 years or whatever. Overall raise. Well, here's the deal, folks. The labor statistics in the water and sewer industry has had a steady inflationary factor for the last 20 years of 5.5%. It's been as high as 7%. It's been as low as 5%, but it's averaging 5.5%. My contract has a 4.5% lid on that increase. And the reason, and that's just the way it is, okay? So I've never received an increase of over 4.5%. Last year I received an increase of 4.5% on our contractual prices. Everything that we bill you for in those statements, there is nothing miscellaneous. Every single item is contracted at a fixed price in that contract.
Yeah.
And the reason for that inflation is because we know that as we are required to add on, if you'll recall, we had to add on the polymers, new polymer treatments, the new laboratory work, the Sager system, that's added on to our duties. That's paid for in that inflationary number. That's where that comes from. That's more man hours on me. That's more expenditure of fuel and time and whatever on me, as much as on you.
Yeah.
So while we received an increase in our price tag of 4.5%, our actual income last year was only 3%. And the reason for that is the rehab work that we've been doing in the water system, we've reduced the maintenance and holding and saved you money in what you pay to us. So in reality, our income is going down on the inflationary scale, not up. So the rhetoric in the newspaper is just that. It's rhetoric to suit the author's issue.
We, I believe the last time before this current raise, wasn't it 2010? The last time we raised it.
Last time we raised, yeah.
And
To say
wasn't
it,
it, I read it in the paper somewhere, it was supposedly every year.
yeah,
No,
no.
it was 2010.
And we have, and we've received that increase every year, but we've reduced the cost of doing business in Holden by saving you money with the rehab that we're doing. We do it for all of our clients.
I have a little tale to tell about the quality of the water that shocked me. I have a friend who was on dialysis, and I didn't know all this, that was on dialysis for an extended period of time. At the time, they lived out on rural water. They have a dialysis machine they used in their house, and they had to send water samples in, have them analyzed, to say whether or not they could use that water in the dialysis machine, in the workings of its own. They never could on the district. Then they moved to Holden and got on Holden City Water. And the first time and every time they sent a water sample in to the lab, it was approved and they were able to use it in their dialysis machine. That's significant. That's the kind of thing people want.
O&M staff are professionals.
That just freaked me out.
We treat that water to the science. It's an exact science. And our operators understand it. And so the thought that it's that easy to find and it's that easy to do, it's all a matter of flipping some switches and reading some gauges, that's not what it is. It's an exact chemistry
And highly regulated.
and highly regulated.
Jeez.
And so I've been reading the papers too, and it's disappointing that such kind of language can be out there for the public when the facts are documented. Holden, we are proud of the work we've we've done since we've been here. Within that competitive rate scale right there, we've done nearly $7 million of infrastructural capital improvements in Holden, Missouri, and competed with those rates right out there, put out a good product. And that's that. We don't need a medal for it, but by golly, we don't, this trashing
Don't even know how to
is uncalled for.
If you go comparing the water district with our water too, another thing, having worked at Kingsville for most of my life, I've used to even worse water there, it's better than it used to be. But water heaters, and the money people have to spend in Kingsville for water heaters is compared to us.
That was District 2, it was the metals in the water, it's different heating elements and builds up the
Parts.
calcium deposits and stuff in the bottom.
Well, we're proud of the work we do here in Holden, and our people are good people. This is their home. We're here by choice, and these are our neighbors. We wouldn't steer them on. We will make our share of mistakes, but we will correct our mistakes. We'll take responsibility.
Okay, you said the majority of the letter now, the majority of the letter.
I was just.
I found 2 negatives and the rest I found.
Well, one of the complaints was on meter reading and estimating. How often are they actually estimated? I don't have any
We
idea.
read the meters every month. The only time they get estimated is if it's below 25 degrees. If it's inclement weather during the whole period, we don't go out there if it's under snow. I mean, it may be 30 degrees, but if it's under 6 inches of snow, you can't find them. It's a waste of time. So some years we don't have to estimate at all. Some years we may have to estimate 2 months if the weather works out that way. But if we put it off a week, that's 25% of your bill. So they're going to get a 25% higher bill and then a 25% shorter bill. So you have to hit that target and just let the computer does that estimation. And so, no, we get accused of that many, everywhere. That's a complaint in every county. No, we're reading the meters. We're reading the meters. People say that they weren't home. That issue was a particular issue with somebody whose meter had stopped. And when a meter stops, we know what the average usage is. Well, it turned out they had moved away. They didn't tell us to turn it off or anything.
Oh.
They left it on. And we thought the meter was broke, so we put it on the agenda to change the meter out. And they got mad because we were changing the meter out. Why are you changing the meter out? Well, because it's quick. Well, we haven't even been here. Well, we didn't know that. We just thought the meter was bad. So they're condemning us for everything we do, you know. And so there's some people that you're not going to make happy. And that happens to be one of the individuals that was on the council at the time that they blocked us from building that sewer plant in 97.
Well, that was helpful.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've been around here long enough. I'm like a kid. I was watching the grandkids were showing us the film on the Apparently Kid. Have you seen that on YouTube, the Apparently Kid? They're interviewing him at a news station. This kid's about this tall. And he goes, oh, apparently. And every other word is apparently. So Ellen gives him a tour of a dinosaur place. You know, and these dinosaurs come back and asks this kid, do you know what that is? He knows every one. She says, boy, you seem to know your dinosaurs. He says, well, I've seen a lot of dinosaur movies in my time. I've seen a lot of complaints in my time. Fielded a lot of them. But the truth is, like, this exercise would have been a great exercise. We don't fear that.
Well, there was one other comment that
If it was structured a little differently to say, how can we improve? Then we might not get the plus and minus step, but we might have got some ideas.
Yeah.
But it wasn't structured that way. And we're always looking at it. As far as complaints, we've got professionals right here, this desk, every day. And we do get complaints, and we manage them. Professionally, not at some hoopla meeting somewhere where everybody can throw daggers at the poor guy on the floor, but right here, the way it should be handled. Person to person, and at the doorstep, to find the problem. Whether it's a misread or not a problem at all, just a misunderstanding. We find it and we correct it. And we field 3,000 or 4,000 of those a year. Customer transactions, person to person, not complaints. We don't get that many complaints. But we deal with customer transactions. That's what these girls are trained to do, and that's what they do.
One of the other comments I liked was, said, well, the witch hunt for O&M. Why didn't we ask about all the city entities, you know?
Yeah, why
Even
just
if we're gonna have
us?
comments, let's have comments on the police department, let's have comments on that. Street department.
Well, it was an obvious bias exercise, period.
We know what it was.
But as it turned out, it seems pretty positive.
Yeah, it was very encouraging for me.
You might call that backfire.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate it. Everybody who wrote it.
Well, community leaders especially.
Mhm.
I mean, you know, when you get your Chamber of Commerce president and several business leaders
Yeah,
that
business,
send positive steps, and hey,
businesses,
good job.
yeah, because they know what it takes to run a business, how difficult it can be. Yeah.
And you get someone like Sam who's been here a long time and seen it all too. I mean, that means something.
Yeah. We do work hard for our home. The people in our home. These are our friends and neighbors and family. We're not, you know, there's people that are being very judgmental here by their standards, not ours.
Any other comments about letters from citizens? All right, new business. I have one item of new business. Anybody else have anything? No? We received a notice from the Attorney General's office that, and it's dated the 2nd of December 2015, regarding a sunshine law complaint. Dear Ms. Barrett, enclosed are copies of the correspondence from the Missouri Attorney General's office sent regarding the Holden Board of Public Works on December 2nd, 2015. Please let us know if you have any questions or concerns. And there were 9 identical complaints that were identical complaints, like runoff on a copier, and signed by 9 different people and mailed in simultaneously. And what I want, why I'm being careful is I do not want to treat any of these complainants the way I was treated at the city council meeting, where Councilman Carter said, we have a right to know whose names, and the mayor read the names off, and Neil Carter said, shame, shame, that's no way to behave. I do not want that to happen here. I will exercise caution to keep things above board. A complaint is a complaint. They were 9 signatures. Only 3 of the complainants provided contact information. So we received 3 letters, all identical, because the complaints were all identical. They could only respond to the 3 because that's the only 3 that had contact information. And it said, dear so-and-so, our office has recently reviewed the complaint you submitted regarding the Holden Board of Public Works, herein after referred to as the board. Your concern was that the board held a public meeting on July 13th, 2015 at a private company and not at City Hall as required by a local ordinance. The Missouri Sunshine Law addresses the location where a public meeting is held in 610.020.2 RSMO. Quoting, notice conforming with all of the requirements of subsection 1 of this section shall be given at least 24 hours exclusive of weekends and holidays when the facility is closed prior to the commencement of any meeting of a governmental body unless for good cause such notice is impossible or impractical, in which case such notice is reasonably possible shall be given. Each meeting shall be held at a place reasonably accessible to the public and of sufficient size to accommodate the anticipated attendance by members of the public, and at a time reasonably convenient to the public, unless for good cause such a place or time is impossible or impractical. Every reasonable effort shall be made to grant special access to the meeting to handicapped or disabled individuals. If you are concerned that the meeting place does not meet these requirements, please let our office know. If you believe the board has violated a local ordinance, you will need to contact your local officials. The Missouri Attorney General's office will not be able to address this matter. You also indicated in your letter that the body canceled a meeting originally scheduled on July 7th, 2015, and posted that it would instead be held on July 13, 2015. The Missouri Sunshine Law does not address how a public governmental body should cancel a meeting. However, it appears from your letter that the body posted a notice to let the public know about the cancellation and to announce when the next meeting would be held. This type of action can be perceived as the body working to be transparent and open. Enclosed is a booklet published by Attorney General Chris Koster entitled Missouri Sunshine Law. You will find the statute referenced above on page 8. I hope you find this information helpful. Our office has closed your complaint. And all 9 copies are identical.
Who did the Attorney General respond to? Was that to the Board of Public Works or
No.
That's according to that.
They
That was-
copied it to the board.
They
Okay.
copied us.
Okay.
It was to the person that filed the complaint. They were
Three
able,
they gave for.
they were able to deliver it to 3 people who filed the complaint, but there were 9, and they supplied them to me. It's a public record. They supplied me all 9 complaints, and the complaint is identical, all are identical. It says, I am writing to make a complaint about the Holden Bpw Works breaking City Ordinance 615 on April 7th. Jim McDaniels with an S, and Jim spells his name with no S, broke city ordinance by having a public meeting at OMM Enterprises, which is a private business and not at Holden City Hall that is owned by the city. The city ordinance was passed and in place before this meeting. He, as in president of BPW, I'm just reading it verbatim, McDaniels did this knowing he was breaking the law. Then on May 5th, Katie Barrett took over the seat of president of BPW. And I would say that I'm the chairman. The city ordinance says we're chairman, not president, but
Just read the letter.
okay. On 2 June, and the new president, Katie Barrett, made the decision to have another monthly meeting at a private business, O&M Enterprises, and not City Hall, as stated in the ordinance. Mrs. Katie Barrett did this knowingly and against city ordinance. Mrs. Katie Barrett has attended all meetings about this issue. She is fully aware of her actions. In the Holden Image, the newspaper in Holden, she has posted that the next meeting, July 7th, will be held again in violation of city law at this business again. She has been asked why, and she said She was the president, and she wants them held at a private business and not where the people have voted for. The BPW has canceled the July 7th meeting and reposted it for July 13th at O&M Enterprises. I don't know why. Again, breaking the law and city ordinance. We are tired of Mrs. Barrett's complete disregard to our city law and disrespect to our mayor and certain council members, and are asking for your intervention. We are asking for her immediate removal from office and a personal fine. We the people are tired of this BPW board doing as they please. They are under the control of the city council and mayor and not their own ordination. The city has hired a contractor to take care of the water and sewer, not to control our BPW as he seems fit. We are tired of these people bullying our city government and a constantly disrupting to our council. With her removal of office, we the people are confident this will end the bullying and constant attacks on this council and mayor. We need Mrs. Barrett's removal. Please, we are asking for your help to save our city.
Is that the letter that all of them sent?
There were 9 identical letters sent.
They haven't read, pardon me for interrupting, but they haven't read the state statutes as what the Board of Public Works is in charge of.
Well, I don't
They're in
even
charge
know how the ordinance is
They're
written.
in charge of streetcar lines.
Anybody with a third grade education can read that ordinance and know that it does not
It
require us to
does
meet
not
anywhere.
require
And
us.
anybody with who's ever read the state statutes knows that the city council does not have authority to tell the Board of Public Works when and where to meet.
They can keep their, this isn't the record, you can keep your records. You can keep your records in a hollow log at Memphis if you want to, and you could meet out in the middle of the forest.
But this disinformation about what, in fact, the ordinance does say has been promulgated
And by the
by
way,
City Hall.
let me ask a question. I'm sorry that Deanna is not here. Bob,
Yes, sir.
did you and I have any relationships, any chumming or buddy up or pals or pen pals or email buddies or Facebook friends before you came on this board?
No, we had a working
We've had some,
relationship, and that
we've
was
had
it,
some
yeah.
working relationships with some construction you've done,
No,
good, bad, or indifferent.
we didn't set up the cabin.
You ticked me off.
Okay, but that's,
He ticked me off.
write a letter to the editor later. But did we have any relationship?
But-
Did we
No,
know
I
each other
didn't
on
know.
any level besides the business transactions of this utility?
No, and once I understood why you were at my doorstep, I was okay with it.
Did you and I know each other at any personal level at all, or professional level, or Doyle? Did you and I know each other in any way prior to this? You know, I mean, we
Yo,
ever gone
went
out to
fishing,
dinner,
come
and
on,
we ever,
admit it.
have we ever gone fishing together, and we ever, besides knowing each other as, yeah, I know the guy who lives over here.
Still a small
No,
town.
you could find
There's
better
no
company than
entrenchment
that.
here. There's not, this is not some kind of a good old boy club. This has always been, and I've got a list of all of the names of the men and women that have served on this board, and I've never had a personal relationship with any of them. I don't believe, other than Butch Shore, I don't believe I've even had a fellow church member on this outfit. You know, and he was the mayor. But, this is
Strange that
nonsense.
was. Yeah.
This is absolute nonsense.
It is.
Yeah.
And the letter that the mayor sent to my house,
That was a good reply, incidentally.
yeah,
But like you say, we're,
also
right,
refers to
Don't
me
know
as
city
the
council
president of the Board of Public
and
Works.
Rick Edwards, I barely know him, but when he ripped the BPW, it's us, it's
Yeah.
with the Board of Public Works. He doesn't even know me.
BPW has changed since he's been on the council. Every seat on here has changed more than once.
Yeah.
Most of them,
That's right.
because it's just been a turnover here lately.
Mhm. I didn't know Misty Bloss had served for a couple of years.
Yeah, she was on the board at one time.
The mayor, as a private citizen, sent a letter to my home. And he uses Karen Barrett, President, Holden Board of Public Works, 1406 South Lexington Street. That's my home address. Holden, Missouri. Dear Ms. Barrett, this is a request under the American Freedom of Information Act and Missouri Sunshine Law, Chapter 610, Revised Statutes of Missouri. I request that you make available for disclosure to me any and all records on file, open and closed, pertaining to the information requested below. And he requested a whole bunch of proof of payments, BPW water accountability records, copies of all invoices paid for the recent sewer improvement project, explanation as to why monthly BPW meetings continue to be held at 900 South Vine in lieu of City Hall, 101 West 3rd Street in the city of Holden per ordinance. That is not how the ordinance reads. So my response to him, Rick Edwards, citizen, I gave the address he had in his letter, his home address, that I will not repeat. Dear Mr. Edwards, the correct address for the Holden Board of Public Works is Holden Board of Public Works, 900 South Vine Street, Holden, Missouri, 64040. I gave the telephone number. If you wish a response to your request, please direct your request to the office address provided above. The Board of Public Works conducts all business from this address, not my home. Do not contact me at my personal residence for this or any other reason. Further communication directed at my personal address will be considered harassment.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yeah.
When is that letter dated that he sent you?
That he sent me?
Yes.
15 December 2015.
The 15th of December?
Yeah, and then a couple
I have
days-
a copy of the deal that he passed out to us at the council meeting, and it says, I quote in here, in the official capacity as mayor, he read this to us. The man has perjured himself. He says, these will be my last words on the subject of BPW and the contractor at O&M Enterprises.
Yeah.
He didn't do this as mayor, he did this as
But
private.
doesn't matter.
This is private
Sir,
citizen.
you can't be a private citizen and that. The man has perjured
I
himself.
know. So
You have to be under oath to perjure yourself, though.
Yeah.
He was not at the official capacity as the mayor after the meeting was started.
He didn't under oath. I mean, he didn't take an oath.
You have to be under oath and in court to perjure yourself, but I get
The
you. I
capacity-
understand.
was
He
just the same.
contradicted himself.
Yeah.
That's,
He
But
didn't
he
tell
did-
the truth necessarily.
He did change the date on the same letter and forward it, and still used my home address and everything else. He changed the date and sent it to the water department. But I find it interesting that the terminology is the same in this letter and in the nine complaints. And president, I mean, it's just really interesting.
What are you going to do with that request? Ground file it, or?
No, we answered it.
I mean, did you give him all the information?
Yes, we did.
Good. But I mean, there was,
We gave him all the sunshine information.
We gave him everything that
The
pertains to the
lane
sunshine law.
questions, they're lane questions, that's not sunshine information.
Yeah. There were
Anything we
two,
had documentation of, he got.
yeah, anything that deals with documents. Rendering an opinion on a matter does not fall under the sunshine law. Asking a person to create a document to satisfy your
And
curiosity
it's
or
all the
whatever
same rhetoric
does
that's been
not
coming
fall
out of
under the
City Hall for
sunshine law.
years.
So we gave
5 years.
all of the information as far as documentation, we got it to him that he wanted. We copied all the invoices, we copied everything, we sent it to him, boom, done.
And it's only a matter of time that he asks for something else that takes up all the time.
Yeah,
You know what, there has to be a stop, but there's someplace. I don't know what to do about it.
Even under sunshine laws, they can't keep asking for total information. Once you receive it.
But he could ask for stuff every month.
Now.
Because there's nothing you can do about it. Yes,
I'd say the deal, but
It was
he
another
also,
sunshine.
Most of what he's asked for, he already had.
yeah.
but didn't he ask for something to put a limit of $25 on it? Or if it comes over 20?
That was another request he never stops. That was another request.
I'd make you, if you have to copy off 200 sheets, I'd make him about
Well, here's
$400.
how I look at it, Sam, and the board can change this if they wish. He's the mayor. Anything in this office, he's welcome to. If we have to make copies of the city's paper to the city's official, there's no charge. Now, the copier's mine and the paper's mine in most cases, but I don't care. I'm not gonna intervene there. What I'm saying is that we're doing work here for the city of Holden. He's the senior administrative authority, and if he asks for something, we're gonna give it to him.
Yeah,
Period.
and,
So I'm not gonna
That's
get
fine.
into tit for tat about,
Yeah.
well, how much is a copy?
yeah, here, take it.
If he asks for a book, I'm gonna say, let's be reasonable.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, you know, hey, the file is open, come and look at it.
And the reason I felt compelled to make the statement about harassment, he has taken it upon himself several times at my place of residence to be inappropriate. One day back last April, he really, really slow. I mean, I live on a highway. He's crawling down the highway, stops at the end of my driveway, whips out a camera, takes a picture of, we helped our new neighbors get a TV antenna down. It was sitting in the front yard. Took a picture and then takes off. I mean, you know, you could speculate as to what the purpose was. I don't know, Larry Jennings, the day after Larry Jennings applied to run as a candidate and was turned away by City Hall, he received 11 codes violations.
What they did to Larry, whoever did it to him was criminal.
And then month after month after month, we gotta be adults about this. So we disagree about things. We're neighbors. He lives 2 doors down from me. We should be adults and get along. We pass each other constantly on the road. So I would smile and wave, trying to be okay with everything. And he would grip his steering wheel and look away. One time he didn't realize it was me, and he goes like that. I mean, this is ridiculous. The day or so after we signed that grant here at City Hall, I pass him on the road. I kind of given up, I just was gonna pass. He locks eyes with me, takes his hand off the wheel and goes bang, with this really hateful look on his face. Oh, and please. There's been other craziness, but I am getting concerned about his behavior. So I had to put him on notice about, stay away from my, don't bring it to my house. I'm not a young cop anymore. I'm an old 62-plus-year-old lady.
I have a question.
You know?
All these sunshine requests for records, has he ever bothered to come down here first and ask for the records?
No.
So truly it is just harassment.
Yes. Well,
I mean,
you can speculate on whether it is or is not harassment. But if you're on the
it
receiving
seems to
end
me,
of it, it sure feels
yeah.
like it.
At
Well,
least you didn't hire an attorney, so it didn't cost money.
here's the
Like the
four
city.
instances.
Well, yeah, what my philosophy on these matters with the Attorney General, I am into complying. I want to do it the right way. If you call the Attorney General's office or email them, they will tell you what you need to do to comply. They don't give you legal advice. They cannot. They tell you how to comply. That's all I'm interested in doing, is complying, not getting out of something. I don't want to create a problem where there, doesn't have to be one. How do I comply? Thank you for the advice. Thank you for the booklet. They came down and taught a class. I mean, they're very, very helpful, and it doesn't cost a dime to find out how to do it properly. I don't know. I don't know when this will end.
It won't end until he dissolves the Board of Public Works.
He can't do that. It's state statute.
I know he can't do it, but I'd say it won't
In
end
his
until,
mind.
what I'm saying, it'll never end unless,
In his mind. At any rate,
We got good city council members.
any other comments from the floor?
well, we
on
know
any
it's,
other
that
topic?
tirade that he read at the last council meeting was a personal insult to about 5 of us.
Yeah,
It was personally insulting
that was hurtful.
and
5 plus 5
Yeah.
It insulted everybody on this board.
He insulted everybody that
Everybody
voted
here.
for us. He insulted, it was a total insult.
Yeah.
And,
And everyone who wrote letters of support, he bashed them as well.
yeah.
He didn't do Clarence any favors by not letting him explain his
No,
situation.
but-
Yeah, he,
There's a lot to
his
go
battery
into.
died.
The battery died.
But he's the mayor is a tyrant. And I don't know, and very vindictive, and I don't understand, I just don't understand it.
Well, I want him to stay away from my home. Business is business, and you don't bring it to my house. Does anybody have any happy comments from the floor? Any other business to, anything else? Alrighty then. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
And all of a sudden,
All in favor, aye.
8:04.
Dog, did you get this? Everybody have your business?
Sue, do you want copies of
Did my
anything?
kids? My dogs are new dogs. Yeah. 6 months.
It's running.
Thank you.